Mate, what are your first thoughts after that tough one to take?
Yeah, I thought the first half of the game, I thought the bowlers did a terrific job on I thought the wicket was pretty good. And I don't think any of our batters, after coming off, probably said anything different either. I thought maybe the occasion got to us chasing. We were trying to possibly win the game too quickly. It felt like that, especially our top order batters, myself included. But it was a really tough one to take because I thought we did such a good job in the first half. Felt like we were chasing maybe 20 under par or 25 under par, and we just weren't good enough. We didn't really have to do anything too ridiculous, but I felt like we kept inviting the Scorchers into the game with some of the decision making, particularly early on in the innings, batting wise.
Benefit of finishing in the top two is still involved.
Still involved, but it's gutting when you have such a good first half of the game. You're playing away from home. You've got an opportunity to host a final, and you can do so much better than what. Personally for me, I know I can do so much better than what I did tonight, and I'm sure there are plenty of other guys in our sheds feeling the exact same way. And now we've got to do the long road back. So we fly back to Sydney, play again in a couple of days, and then if we're successful, and that's a big if, we've got to fly back here and then play the next day. So it's going to be the tough way to the BBL tournament. But as you said, we are still alive. But opportunities that come around tonight, they just don't come around that often. On a surface like that, I think Steve showed exactly how good the wicket still was, and obviously how good he is as well. But unfortunately, we didn't really have anyone else to go with him.
How do you handle that between now and Friday? Does something need to be said, or the players know they've blown the chance?
I mean, everyone's going to feel pretty gutted. It's a tough one because some of the decisions were probably poor decisions when you're chasing 148, but we can't overanalyze that because we might be chasing 180, or the next week it might be a good decision if you're chasing 190 or 200. But so it's one of those situations that when you're only chasing 7 and over, we probably didn't need to take quite the amount of risk we were looking to take early on in the innings, but. We can't say we always want to bat like that. It's got to match the context of the game, and tonight it didn't. Next game going to be a completely different context and a completely different set of situation, and maybe we will need to be a bit more aggressive. But it's making everybody aware, or trying to understand everybody's what led us to make that decision. I feel like, as I mentioned earlier, myself included, and I'm sure there was plenty of other batters tonight that when we walked off the field were may have felt I probably didn't need to do that right then. And maybe the pressure of finals cricket and the possibility of hosting a final makes you feel like you just want to get the runs quicker or finish the game earlier, and you don't want to absorb the pressure. So just trying to understand what that looks like for everyone, so that, if we feel that again in the future, how do we sort of put that aside and stay calm, remain calm, and take the risks when we need to take the risks.
How awkward is it facing Marley Beardman? He seems to really hurry on the batters with a short pitch. I feel like the ball that I tried to pull probably wasn't short enough to pull. I reckon Josh Felipe would say the same thing when we look back. It doesn't feel like it's not 150 pace. I'd say he'd be. He's a good young seamer, but I feel like when you're watching live, Starkey, you got a guy 6'7" bowling, one even quicker than that. I don't know. Just as I said, I don't think. I'd say a lot of tonight was the decision making from the batters, and Marley put the ball in nice areas where it wasn't. I felt his length was better because it wasn't that short. And we were almost expecting the short ball or looking for a short ball, but he's, especially for that in his first over to flip, he bowled him one bouncer earlier, and then the next one that flip tried to pull actually wasn't that short, and same thing happened to me. I looked to pull one that wasn't short enough, and I think his length control there was probably the key rather than actually just coming in and trying to bowl bounces.
Given everything you've said about the decision making and everything, how keen are you guys to get the job done on Friday? So you just get another crack here to atone for tonight.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the one thing you do love about playing here is that, when we were on top of the game early, the crowd just went silent, and then you could really tell when we were batting how loud this ground gets and how much the home crowd gets in behind their home team. And it's really cool to be a part of that atmosphere and witness that atmosphere. And it'd be great to have the opportunity to come back and hopefully make the crowd silent. But we've still got a lot of work to do before then. We'll be trying our best in the next game to right the wrongs of this game, but also understand that it could be a completely different context for the next fixture as well.
Was there any regret in choosing Gold Coast in that heat?
No regret at all after 148. If any, not at all. There's a lot of regret over some of the decision making of I'm sure some of the batters, but no. If you walk off here chasing 148, I'll take that every day of the week.
Do you feel like the heat could have played a toll, I guess, in how you perform mentally in the second half?
I don't think so. I think for me personally, I've been playing professional cricket for 21 years. We played in the middle of the Australian summer. It gets to, by the time we're out there batting at 6 p.m, I didn't even notice it was that hot. Whether it was a factor for someone else, I can't comment. But no, I don't think heat played a part in any of the decision making or mental fatigue possibly. If anything, I would have, if we bowled poorly, then maybe. But because of how well we bowled, the real physical part of the game was over, and we just needed to go out there and make some smart decisions and bat with skill. And one of our batters was able to do that, but the rest of us weren't.
Finals. Do you get together as a group and go through what you'd change, or do you do it individually?
No, it's usually more individual because everyone batted in a different context of the game. So I feel like sometimes it's lazy coaching or captaining if you just say the one message to the whole group, because everyone would have made a slightly different mistake to someone else, and we can't just go, the batting wasn't good enough. You got to really, I think, if you want to make it effective, you got to dig a little deeper and make it specific to the situation of that player, their strengths and weaknesses, their strengths, what they do well. And even if you want them to change, or if you just want to ask, what would you do different next time? And if they say nothing, then maybe that's, maybe it was just an execution error. But I don't think it's a case of, sitting the team down and wasting, I guess, everyone's time with this sort of, we should have done better, and creating a real negative mood, because it's as I said, even for the bowlers, there's so many different skill sets. As I said, Starkey's 6'7", and we got guys who, aren't that tall or bowl right arm, and they're very different. They're two very different skill sets, so they're going to have different plans, and non-execution for one is completely different to the other. So, there's not really one, I guess, criticism or one work on that's just going to work for everyone, if that makes sense. So I think if you want to be effective, you've got to dig a little deeper and understand the context that each individual played in the actual game.
Finals have sort of become a little bit of an Achilles heel in recent seasons. Does that get discussed at all? Because it feels like you had the squad and I guess the form in a better place this season leading in.
Absolutely gets discussed, and part of why some of our signings this year, we weren't expecting Sam to get picked for England, but this year we moved away from picking guys to get us into the finals to trying to back end our overseas players to make sure, we had guys available for the finals. We've noticed the trend over the last couple of years is, we've lost a lot of players come finals time. And we're trying to make sure that we had our most experienced and ready players to go at the business end of the season. And here we are with a very, very strong team. And unfortunately, we just weren't able to get the job done.
Just on Mitch Stark, mate, given the mounting travel load on the Sixers, but also the Ashes series, are you confident that if you progress all the way that he's able to get through?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to play that match by match, obviously. He took a little bump on the shoulder, but he's an absolute beast. How he keeps turning up and doing, all the 5 tests throughout the summer. He had, 5 days off, and then he's back at it with us bowling, I don't know what is coming up on the speedo, but it is quick out there live. It's fast, yeah. It looks very fast. He's just a beast. He's the ultimate professional. He prepares so well. His recovery is he's just. If anyone can do it, it's going to be him. So, but even then, as you mentioned, we've been playing plain play. We'll have to, we don't want to put him at risk for, his future commitments as well, and whatever they may be. But, at the moment, I know he'll be wanting to play if available. We'll have to obviously assess what's going on with his shoulder, but he kept bowling, so I'd imagine he'd be okay. We've got one extra day in between. We fly tomorrow, then we've actually got the day to. Well, I'm sure the bowlers will probably just have a full day off, and the rest of us can train and have a hit, but before our next game. But yeah, I'd say it's feed up for a lot of the bowlers for the next 2 days before we play. And then if we're good enough to get the result there, it's basically another flight back here, and we just have to see how things go.
Yeah, I was just going to follow up on that shoulder injury. Has it been assessed to a full extent yet, and what does it look like early days?
I don't even think it's been assessed yet, because he didn't go off. He just wanted to keep bowling. I'd imagine it was, I'm hoping it just got in the grass and, fell on it the wrong way. But sometimes with these types of injuries, they can get worse once you cool down. So we're kind of hoping that's not the case. But we'll see. He's been magnificent for us. Like, his attitude around the group's fantastic, and he wants to play. So I'm hoping he's good.